Hey everyone, Hassan here, and I got another Power Rangers Dino Charge review for you today. I'm excited. I just did my review of the Deluxe Dino Charge Morpher, and it was awesome. I had a lot of fun with it, and now we have the next piece here, the other roleplay item, the Deluxe Dino Saber. The packaging is kind of more vertical, but in order to fit it in the camera, I kind of put it sideways. So this thing is really cool. This does combine with the Dino Charge Morpher as well, and I will take a look at that. I'm excited to see that combination here. I believe this is, as of the time of recording this, the first ever review of the Deluxe Dino Saber, which I'm really excited about, so I hope you guys enjoy this. So, quick look at the packaging here. This is going to be kind of hard to show on the camera. Let me see if I can do this here. So, a lot of the packaging is going to have your Dino Charge Red Ranger, the logo, he's holding the Dino Charger and the T-Rex right there. This one in particular says we got lights and sounds, which is pretty cool. I'm glad they did a deluxe version of this and not a basic one, because that would have been terrible. This one also comes with the Dino Charger for the Green Ranger, number 4 right there. So that's pretty cool. We got another Dino Charger, and I will show you what it does in the Dino Charge Morpher as well. And there's your Try Me, and it's a Deluxe Dino Saber. So there's that. The side of the packaging tells you how there's 4 ways to play. So you can use the Dino Chargers with the app, which is not out yet. The Dino Charge Morpher, which I will show you. I believe that's supposed to symbolize the T-Rex for the Megazord, and then some other Zords and stuff as well. So there's lots of different ways that you can use this. The packaging here shows you the Dino Charge Red Ranger with the Dino Saber right there. I will also show you, by the way, a comparison with the Japanese version, so I will do that. It is open style packaging, which I'm not too big of a fan of, but it is what it is, so do keep an eye on it. You know, kids may be taking this, and if it drops on the ground, you might get scratches on it. So when you're buying one, make sure you kind of keep an eye on it and see that it's not all messed up. The bottom's just got your standard UPC stuff as well. On the back of the box, so this shows you just a bunch of different Dino Chargers, just letting you know they're going to be releasing a whole bunch to collect. Like I said, you can combine this with the Morpher as well. Shows you how you can insert a charger, lights and sounds, and then, gosh, this tall packaging is so hard to show on the camera. The very top of the back, I love that they're doing this with all the Dino Charge items. They actually have an image from the show, and if it's not from the show, they put artwork. But it's really cool because it actually shows you, you know, what it's like in the show, and so kids can kind of see that firsthand with this image, and I think it looks awesome. So I'm a big fan of what they did there. So yeah, that pretty much is the packaging. Without further ado, let's get this open and take a look. Alright, I got the Deluxe Dino Saber out of the box. Here it is. Pretty cool. First things first, let's take a look at the Dino Charger right here. So this is number 4 for the Green Ranger. Looks pretty cool. You got the pins right there, so that's what it is there. It's the Velociraptor. Ooh, focus. It's got all blurry. These things are so tiny, the camera just doesn't know where to focus on them. Focus. Oops, now I'm dropping it. Let's see here. So Velociraptor, there we go. And then if you want the QR code, here is the QR code right there for the Green Ranger, the number 4 Dino Charger. So when that app comes out, I will show you what this does in the app at that time. This also has the exact same thing as the other Dino Chargers, the 4 different modes. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4. So there you go. So it's pretty cool that you can kind of do the charging up motion like that. I kind of do like the one click to switch, but at the same time, I guess it's kind of neat that they have the charging up action going on right there. So pretty cool. Actually, let's take a look at this in the Dino Charge Morpher real quick. I'll turn it on, open it up. All right, pins facing inwards here. Ready? Actually, I'll just do it with my thumb there. Raptor Charger engage. Energize. All right, here we go. And then pull the trigger.
Unleash the power. Velociraptor.
There you go. It sounded almost like a different person saying it, which is kind of interesting. And then we'll pull the trigger here. I feel like that's a generic sound though. I think just the Raptor Charger engage energize, and then the Velociraptor Power Ranger green charges or sounds are the two unique ones. But that's that. So we'll set aside the Morpher for a little bit. Turn this off because we're going to use this in a combination a little bit later. So this thing right here is the Deluxe Dino, the Deluxe Dino Saber. I'll show you size comparisons with some of the other weapons a little bit later when it's kind of easier to do that. But first things first, this thing looks nice. I think it looks pretty cool. The adult, I guess, fan trying to hold it, you know, I would have liked a little bit more space for the hand, but it works okay. If you try and hold it like this, it's not going to work, but you just kind of hold it a little bit like this, and it kind of works there. So it's not meant for the adult fans, but it's serviceable, you know. It still kind of does a decent job there. But yeah, pretty cool. So you kind of have like this sort of a color here, and it's slightly see-through, slightly, just because this part will glow. But here's what this whole thing looks like here. And it's pretty cool. I think it looks good. It's a decent size for sure. Again, I'll do some more comparisons in a little bit in terms of size, but I did want to really quickly compare with the Japanese version since everybody wants to see that, you know. So there's the two side by side. So the Japanese one is a little bit more bigger and it's heavier. There's a bigger space to put the hand there, of course. In terms of paint, this one's got like a more they're a different shade color. This one's shinier here. You're missing some red paint there. In fact, this, in the Japanese one, you can move it. This is just solid in place there. You can't do anything with it. Missing a little bit of paint like right there and stuff, but not a big deal, you know? A little bit of yellow right there. But honestly, all in all, it's still pretty good, you know? Still, it's pretty good. The Japanese one, you open this to put in the charger, and this one you just kind of slide it right in. So you have that there. But this also, I'll show you in more detail I'm going to just fold it up real quick. I'll show you how to do all this in a second, but I just want to really quick just show you that comparison right here. So between the two, the Japanese one is of course bigger, but still, you know, not bad. I don't think you're really losing out on much by getting it. And in fact, this actually has some nice stuff that the Japanese one doesn't, like how the actual blade glows for one thing, but also they're roughly the same length, but on this one, the blade part is longer, and on the Japanese one, the rest of it is longer, but the blade is so tiny, and I hated that about the Japanese version. If it's supposed to be a saber, you don't want this tiny little baby blade. Like, what is that? So I actually love the American one better, or more. I'm not even speaking proper English now, apparently. But I like the fact that the blade is much bigger. I think proportionally, the American one looks much better. So for all the bells and whistles the Japanese one might have, the American one is pretty awesome in that regard because it's a saber. So you want the blade to be a decent length, and I think it looks much better proportionally in the American one for sure. So there's that. Oh, speaking of American-Japanese comparisons, I have the Japanese Judenchi to compare with the Dino Charger. Now this is the metallic one, so it is going to be a shinier green, so don't pay too much attention to that. But there's your two parts right there. Let's flip this over. So there's that comparison right there. Different pins, of course, and on the back. So this one's Zakutor, and this is Velociraptor. So there's your comparison there. So anyways, so what does this thing do? Well, let's turn the sound on, and there's an on-off switch on the side right here. So when you turn it on, you saw the blade lit up, which is pretty cool, and I'll show you what that looks like in the dark as well, so you'll get to see that. Now you have this little button here, and I believe it plays 3 different sounds, but they're so similar that it's hard for me to truly tell, and I believe they're played randomly. So let's try and make sense of it, but I'll pull the button here, or push the button, rather. So the whole blade kind of lights up too. I'll kind of show that again. Or at least down here and up here mostly, but still. So I feel like that was a slightly different sword sound there. And I think that might have been the third sound. But it seems to be random, and they're so close to each other, it's really hard to tell, but I do like the blade lighting up. I think that's really cool, and I'll show you how it looks in the dark as well. So it goes up to here, like even this part of it, even though this is not like transparent, I guess that's where the LED is, so it even just shines through right on there, which looks pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, all in all, I think that looks pretty sweet. So again, I'll show you that in the dark there. Now, what you can do with it is you can take the Dino Charger. Any Dino Charger will work. It does not make a difference. It does not read which Dino Charger you put in. And so it doesn't matter which side you put in either. So I'll put this in right here. You just slide it right in, basically. Actually, no, sorry, there's one other step. On the side here, you have this little button, right? You have to hold it down, because otherwise, if you see in here, there's this little black tab, and it won't let the Dino Charger go in unless I hold it down, then the black tab kind of goes down. So you have to hold down this tab, and then you can stick it in. Oops, wrong way. It goes like this. So the zigzaggy part goes facing like up towards the blade, kind of. And when you put it in, this all lights up and it made that sound. And you'll see that the end of the Dino Charger is actually sticking out on the side, so it does not read it at all. It doesn't matter which Dino Charger you use, it'll be the same sound there. And once it's in there, then you can push the button rather. And there you go. That is kind of the extent of the sounds that you're really going to get with it. I'll do it again. Yeah. The last thing is if you eject the Dino Charger, so you just hold down the button, and it pops out, and you get that sound right there. So, yeah, so I'll just kind of do it again real quick. So here's your traditional sounds right there, and then we'll put in the Dino Charger. Push the button, and then we'll eject the Dino Charger. There you go. So those are the sounds that it plays, basically. Now, the other thing that you can do with this is you can combine it with the Deluxe Dino Charge Morpher. I'm going to turn this on. And what you're going to do on this is you're going to push the tail down so this is open. Okay? Now, on the Saber, you're going to have to fold the blade back. So you have to hold down this black little tab right here. So holding it down, then you can let go and you just fold it back like that. Okay, so it looks like that. Then you hold down the button right on here. So just like how you transform the Japanese one, or at least very similar. Hold down the button, and then bam, just like that. So the Dino Charger area is not accessible. In fact, for both of these weapons, putting in a Dino Charger won't change anything. So now, I have the two pieces. Let's put them together. And there'll be a sound that comes from the Deluxe Dino Charge Morpher when you connect it. So the sound has to be on this Morpher. On this guy, it doesn't do any sounds when you connect it. So this lit up and everything, and it made that sound. And now, there's a couple things you can do. If I pull the trigger, it'll make a sound. And then, I can also charge this up and then do another sound. So I can do this. And I can pull the trigger. So that's pretty cool, and I can do it again. Now it's just going to do the normal sound with the trigger. So every time you want to do that bigger charge up sound, you got to charge it up, and then you pull the trigger. And you get that there. So 3 sounds. You got the trigger on its own, you got the charging up, and then the charged up blast with the trigger. So that's pretty cool. And then, well, let me just show you this. There's one more sound when you disconnect it, but this looks pretty cool. Yeah, it is smaller than the Japanese version. The Japanese one is quite large. And I'll show you better comparisons in a second, but just real quick, I'll just kind of grab them here just so I can show you somewhat. It'll be hard to kind of fit into the camera a little, but I just kind of want to give you an idea size-wise. there's kind of your size difference there. The blade being big does make it look a little bit more odd, especially because it's sticking up like this. But I don't mind it too much. I think it looks kind of neat still. So yeah, I mean, overall, it's still pretty solid. Now this is pretty massive. It's hard to hold in one hand. It's very heavy. So I kind of have to hold it like this. And it almost, this one, I'll show you it when I'm in front of the camera in a second, but it feels like it's like a huge cannon or something. Whereas this one, this is the Dino cannon, but it feels a bit more like I'm able to hold it with one hand, sort of. So it's a bit more manageable for kids to be able to hold the Dino Charge version of it because it's not as massive, I guess. So then the last thing is you can hold down the button and disconnect. And it makes that sound right there. So yeah, let me just turn this off and put it to the side. So here we have it, folks. To actually switch it back, you just kind of hold down the button again, and then you just pull down the blade, bam, like that. So there we go. Well, I will turn this off. That is the Deluxe Dino Saber, and I think it's pretty cool. So the last thing then is, of course, those size comparisons and seeing it up close, me holding it in front of the camera so you can see exactly what that looks like. So let's do that now. All right, hey everyone, you can't see me right now. I am there in front of the camera. I have the Dino Saber right here. I just wanted to kind of show you. It's very dark, but this is what it looks like right here. By the way, I have the Dino Charger with me in case anybody's wondering. You can't really see it. But it does not glow in the dark like the Japanese one, as far as I can tell. I'm trying to like shine the Dino Charger light there. It does not glow in the dark. But anyways, so here's the Saber right here. I'm gonna insert the Dino Charger in here. And then I'm gonna push the button. So as you can see, it lights up pretty well, and I think it looks awesome. So I am a fan of this right here. All right, let me turn on the lights and let's do some size comparisons. All right, you can see me now. Here it is. Here is the Deluxe Dino Saber in hand. And yeah, I mean, it's a pretty decent size, as you can see. Pretty solid. Yeah, not too bad right there. Let's do some quick little size comparisons. So, by the way, here's the Deluxe Dino Charge Morpher. So these are the two Dino Charge toys right here. So in terms of size, right there. Here's the Japanese Saber right here. So if you wanted that, I'll try and hold the two of them together like this. So similar heights, but the blade is higher. So you do have that difference there. This is kind of getting all bent and stuff, but and this feels kind of heavy a bit more. But again, I really do not like the short blade on this. I think it looks pretty terrible. That was a huge complaint of mine with this. I really like the combination this does with the Gabu revolver, but this itself I thought was pretty terrible. But this is pretty cool. So last little comparison there if you want to see the two. So I really do like the Deluxe Dino Saber. Now, for comparison, I have the one from Super Mega Force right here. So here's the other deluxe weapon. This thing was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. It felt great in the hand, great size. This one also lights up, so it's very similar. Out of the two of these, I prefer the Deluxe Super Mega Saber. Is that what I'm losing track of all the names? I prefer the Super Mega Force one because it has different colored lights and it feels better in the hand, and I think it looks a little cooler. But that being said, they're still both pretty solid toys. They're roughly the same size. This one kind of curves a little bit, but they're roughly the same size height-wise. Now this piece is a bit bigger down here in the handle, but I mean still, they're still both pretty good toys. So you can't go wrong with either one of them. I think the Deluxe Dino Saber still is pretty sweet. I have the basic version of that Saber as well from Super Mega Force, so you can kind of compare there. So there's kind of that right there. I have the spin sword from Samurai. The blade is all bent up and stuff, but if you wanted a size comparison there, it's the spin sword. Yeah, I guess it's roughly the same size in terms of the height. But this feels very cheap and stuff. Obviously, it's not a deluxe toy. This one is. Here's the Super Silver Spear from Super Mega Force, which I thought was not that great of a toy because it's not much of a spear. It's like the top part of it, kind of. And then, of course, the king of all swords for Power Rangers, at least for me, the Mega Blade, which is fantastic. It's not going to live up to the Mega Blade. I mean, you can see that already. The Mega Blade is obviously much bigger there. So it feels much more solid, the Mega Blade and everything. But this does not have lights. So this one does, and I think that's still pretty cool. I do like the stuff that lights up. So there is kind of that plus over it too. So again, pros and cons. So overall though, I really do like the Deluxe Dino Saber. I think it's pretty solid. Now, let's do that little combination, right? So let's do this, and then so to transform, pull this back, this here, okay? And then we connect. And there you have it. Here is the combined form. Again, this part is a little weird because the blade kind of sticks out like that, but it's still pretty solid. I mean, I think it still looks pretty cool. It's a decent size. It's holdable in one hand, which is nice. I do like that. You can still, it looks cool with two hands for sure, but it's still holdable with one hand. And I have a Dino Charge the poster, the official poster. It's up in my room as well. But it actually shows, I think, the Pink Ranger or one of the Rangers holding it with one hand. And I'm looking at it thinking, like, the Japanese one is kind of hard to do that. It's pretty heavy. But this one is pretty manageable. So I think it actually, you know, is pretty cool because it kind of, you can just use it as a blaster like that with one hand, which is nice. I'll do the Japanese one real quick just to kind of do that comparison. Here's the Japanese one. As you can see, it's much bigger. It's heavy. Like, if I was holding my hand like this for a while, it would start to hurt. So it's more meant for like this, especially because of this part here. So I can do this. And I think it's pretty awesome for what it is. But this cost of the two of these together is much higher than the cost of these two together. So for what it is, this is pretty awesome. And this is also pretty awesome, but they're both kind of serve different purposes in a way. You know what I mean? Like, this is much more manageable for your typical average use, but this is pretty cool for just your, I don't know, more of a collector kind of a point of view. I guess it's more solid for older fans or something in a way. Yeah, so that's kind of your difference there. So I'll kind of do the size comparison between the two. Do it like this. It's kind of hard to hold the bottom one with one hand a little bit, but yeah. So there's your difference right there between the two. So again, I think that obviously you compare the two. There's things that the Japanese version is better, you know, bigger and everything, and more paint and all that. But the American stuff is still pretty awesome, and I actually do like this. I think I'm actually really digging it, and I think the smaller size actually has some benefits there. So this part here does not, you know, move like on the Japanese one. This part here, good or bad, you know, that kind of would have been nice to have, but I'm not really missing it too much either. You know, for what it is, again, it's pretty awesome. So I'm quite happy with it, guys. I recommend it. I think if you want to get any of the Dino Charge stuff, the Morpher for sure, obviously, but the Saber is still pretty solid. And it comes with the Dino Charger for the Green Ranger. So if you're trying to collect them all, you know, you gotta get the Dino Saber for that Dino Charger. So that's that, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed my review. As of recording this review, this is the first review ever for the Deluxe Dino Saber, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope that answered your questions, but if not, post your questions in the comments below, and I got lots more Dino Charge reviews for you on the way as well. I got the Megazord, I got the Raptor and Parazords, I got the 3 Cycles, so lots of stuff on the way. So stay tuned, please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys later.